Hi students, Dr. Madewell here. And for this video, I want to explain to you your first data analysis quiz, which is your DAC 1. We're calling it our demographics report. You'll be doing demographics reports in your field as an explanation of your sample. And demographics include your gender, your race, ethnicity, your age. For this archive data set, they also include your university of attendance. It could also include traumas that people in your sample have experienced. Now, my little schnoodle wants to say hello. This is Princess. Say hi. She's my little guard dog. I call her my little bread loaf. She's about the size of a loaf of bread. All right. Distractions aside, when you open up your data analysis quiz 1, what I'd like you to do is just to go ahead and copy all this information. And let's open up a Word document. May I open one? Taking a minute. And let's just Control V. Let's paste this in. Now, what I'd recommend, even though this says data analysis quiz, and you'll do 3 of them, they're not timed. But I would go in and click on the questions, and then take your time to write in a response to the 7 questions, and then to write your abstract. What I'd recommend is that you answer all of these questions and then open up DAC 1 and you can copy and paste your content. Now, the content you write in this Word document needs to be your own. It doesn't need to be AI. It doesn't need to be your friends. Make sure it's your content, okay? So when I say copy and paste, I mean your handwritten, typed up thoughts that you're copying and pasting. So you're just preparing it in advance. You can use spell check or Grammarly or whatever here, and then paste in your questions, your responses to each question. Sorry about that. Okay, let's review this. DAC 1 is a demographics report that is commonly written by clinicians, sociologists, and demographers. A summary of demographic information is important in understanding how and why certain groups of people may think, behave, and respond to life events as they do. The purpose of this DAC is for you to learn how to apply the statistics we're learning in class to the content that you personally find interesting. In class activity, we completed the resilience surveys. That was the demonstration materials. We downloaded the sample data set from the data and brief data set. We cleaned the data in Excel. You're going to do that on your own time. And then you're going to write an abstract. You will write and submit 1 abstract for your data analysis quiz. Okay. I want you to open these materials. And based on the content within the data set, I want you to select variables of interest and develop responses to each of the following questions. You must follow APA 7th edition. I have a typo there. Now, let's look at this. Number 1, what's the title of your study? Develop an explanatory title. You will create your own title, and it must not be a question. So for this, you could say the relationship between childhood abuse and adult resilience. That'd be a good one. Okay. It's not a question, okay? I like to highlight my content so I know what it's there. You could always change it later. Number 2, what is the purpose of your study? Why is it an important contribution to science? Include a peer-reviewed reference to support your reasoning. 5 points. 5 points, that's a good chunk of information. So here, what I want you to do is say, based on research by last name and name, year, they found XYZ, and they state ABC. This is important because, okay, and you'll have one peer-reviewed reference. That's all you need for this. You could have more. A lot of students usually do. Now you're going to come to question 3. What is your research question? Remember that a research question is broad and it must end with a question mark. It's only worth 2 points. We could say, why are students who overcame childhood trauma more resilient than those who never experienced childhood trauma? Okay, we're just making stuff up here. You cannot submit these answers, of course, that we're just generating here. All right, we're just in a couple of minutes and we've already developed some content. Question 2 is going to take you more time. You're going to need to find some articles of interest that back up your thoughts. Number 4, list 2 hypotheses from past research. So yes, you will need references to support these statements. You could have the same article as your peer-reviewed purpose support or a different one, okay? Including a null and alternative statement for both hypotheses. Refer to chapter 7 of your textbook about hypothesis testing, okay? And so here you could say, and we need to include our H null. Okay, so this is our null hypothesis. A null hypothesis means that our groups are the same and we want to reject that. So go ahead and read chapter 7. It's also assigned in this week. I hypothesize that all students will report equal rates of resilience. Okay. Now, because our null, we want to reject that. We want to reject this statement. Our H1, that's going to be our research 1 hypothesis. I hypothesize that students who overcame childhood trauma and made it to college will be more resilient than students who never experienced childhood trauma. Okay. And we want to support this with our results. Now that would be hypothesis 1. We would need another null and then a hypothesis 2. Now, for your very first DAC 1, I'm not going to grade you too hard on the content of your hypotheses. I just want to know that you're thinking. For DAC 2 and DAC 3, I'll have very specific information and instructions of how to write these out. Okay? But typically, when we say a hypothesis, we also have an in-text, include an in-text citation to explain where we developed our hypothesis from. Okay, this is very important. So you're going to do that twice. Your null, everyone is the same as kind of what our null is because we want to reject it. We want to support our alternative hypothesis. This is worth 10 total points. So I really want you to spend time on question 4, thinking about all that's in the data set and thinking about what matters to you. What is of interest to you? Man, I have some typos. Now, question 5, describe your sample. What is your N? Detail their age, their university, their race ethnicity by reporting the number of people with percentages of the people in parentheses. For example, this could be your sentence. Of those who reported occurrence of a family member in jail, okay, that would mean your whole thing would be about having a family member in jail. 15 people, or 68.18%, were white non-Hispanic. 4, or 18%, were Black. And 3, or 13.63%, were Native American. Using SPSS, oh my goodness, I added a bunch of S's in there. Using SPSS or Excel, you'll run a frequency analysis on your main variable of interest and detail what percentage of participants answered each point on your Likert scale. That's capital L because it's Dr. Likert that developed that. Include a graph to help support your ideas and tell me, what does this mean to you? For your graph, what just happened? I'm gonna edit and do because I don't all right. You will include a paragraph or a table detailing your age, university, race, ethnicity, and gender. Okay. You will also create a histogram and or bar graph to show your data pertaining to your topic. This is worth 10 points. So we really want to make sure that you're spending time on this. Number 6, write out your expected result. 1 point. Wow, okay. Well, this doesn't need to be a ton of information, okay? But what I want you to do is, what do you think this might mean? Okay. Number 7, what do you think your expected results will mean? Number 7, I want you to tie your thoughts back to your peer-reviewed articles to help you explain why you think your data presents as it does. Okay, so you're going to have in-text citations in question 7. Number 6 is going to be your own ideas about the data. Number 7, tie it back to your articles. Make it a scholarly response. And nowhere should it say, I don't know. I don't know. Or I always like those memes where it's like one word, I don't know. But none of that. Okay, we want it to be a scholarly response. Now, you will need to reference the data set. So it means you're going to have references, a reference list. You're going to reference the archive data set. You're going to reference the materials for the variables you've selected. And then at least 1 or 2 additional peer-reviewed articles that you use for your support of your purpose and your hypotheses. Your in-text citations and references must be formatted according to the 7th edition of the APA manual, worth 5 points. Once you type up your reference list, you'll probably use it for DAC 2 and DAC 3, okay? Now, after you have fully responded to all of these questions, I want you to write a 250-word abstract about this potential study. It can only be a max of 250 words. In an abstract, your first sentence is about why your study matters. Okay. Your second sentence is about the methods you used in your study. So you could state, using archive data, I analyzed, or I, analyzed data related to the life stressor checklist revised and the scale of protective factors. To summarize, a group of 86 college students. Okay, so maybe only 86 college students. Sorry, my little schnoodle's going crazy in the background. I hope it's not bothering you. But maybe only 86 college students reported childhood trauma. Okay, we would look at the LSCR item, and then we use the scale of protective factors. Our next sentence is going to summarize our sample. And so you already have 86 college students. So maybe we could put it here. A total, of 86 college students reported the occurrence of childhood, I can't remember the exact LSCR item, childhood neglect, with 42 being women and 44 being men. Okay, that's kind of a short and sweet. We only have 250 words for our abstract. Okay, so that third sentence, tell us about our sample. Who are there? There were 86 of them, 42 and women, 42 men. Does trauma happen to men and women the same as a child? I don't know. Explore it. Maybe that's your purpose to study. Okay. Your fourth sentence is going to tell us about your results. Okay. Tell us a little sentence about your results. And your fifth sentence is going to refer back to your first sentence to explain why it matters. Okay. All right. I think I've gone a little long here, but your DAC 1 content could be 4 pages of content. Here we're already on page 3, just typing in these answers. It could be 10. You're going to have reference lists. Your reference list could be 1 to 3 because you're going to cite the archive data. Madewell et al. 2015. You're going to cite the LSCR. You're going to cite the CD risk if you use that, or the SPF or the RS, whichever measures you're using. Then you're going to have your purpose article. And then maybe that purpose article also is in your hypotheses, but you could have up to 8 references. Okay. Make sure you're using your APA manual. Where'd my APA manual go? It's right here. Use your APA manual to support your ideas. And I believe that this should take about an hour and a half. If you're unsure of this, please reach out, make an appointment with Mark ASAP, and get started ASAP. Don't wait too late. Okay, if you start Sunday morning, you could be in trouble. We don't want that. And you're going to do 3 of these in the 7-week term. So get super empowered. Get a meeting going with Mark and email other classmates to do your best. Thank y'all.